Hi guys, it's Alia. Welcome back to my channel. So as you can see, I am in the middle of a project, and I decided why not show what I'm doing as I'm doing it. It's actually kind of like a tutorial, more of kind of like a how do you do this type video, because I think I also have another tutorial on the same exact thing maybe about a year ago, but I decided since I'm doing it again, why not turn on the camera again? So, the craft fair is coming up, and I'm getting my little goodies and stuff together. And one of my big sellers that I always do are these little tiny Post-it note holders. These things. And basically what it is, there's a Velcro closure. There's a little mini Post-it notes. Obviously they don't fall out. But it's also refillable too. So once the Post-it notes are finished, you can always refill it. And I like them because for me personally, I used to give them in my office as, you know, like holiday gifts, things like that. But they're so easy to kind of throw in your purse, and when you need to write something down, jot something down, you definitely can do that. And these are definitely a big seller at my craft fair, so every year I always make sure I have a couple boxes of these because they do sell awfully fast. So I have started, as you can see, I'm kind of like, I try to get it ready so it's almost kind of like I grab the paper, I grab this, I grab that. So it's like step by step. So I'm not doing each one at a time. So what I do first is I cut down the paper, and as you can see, I only have 2 score marks in it. This one and this one. And I'll tell you why. Well, I'll show you why, basically. But for this actual paper, this always measures the same. To do this size Post-it note holder, which is 1.5 by 2, I cut my cardstock down to 4 3/4 by 2 1/8. And that way, see, it'll fit it perfectly. Like that. So, let me just show you. Where is my scoreboard? Oh, goodness. Oh, here it is. Sorry. My scoreboard is a bit dirty, but it's so old, but it works so well. So, what you want to do to make these first 2 score marks, lay it down on your scoreboard on the long side, which is the 4 3/4 side. And then the 2 score marks that you're going to do, the first one is going to be at 1 3/8 score, and then 1 3/4 and score. So that's how you get those 2 marks. Then what I do is I fold on the score marks. I use my bone folder or, you know, anything that you have just to make a nice, crisp, clean fold. Like that. And then see, this is how it's starting to get its shape. Then what I do is I put a Post-it right inside it, push it all the way in so it backs up against the back there. See? Like that. Then what I do to make the other 2 score marks, because I think in my last video, I was having trouble giving measurements for these 2 score marks because it didn't line up right on the scoreboard. So what I did is I know these 2 will be right. And then I basically make my other 2 score marks by wrapping it around. See? Because this is how I want it to be. And then I'm just going to kind of push the edge there, push the edge there, so it's formed the way I want it to form. I'll take this out. Now you can see there's 2 very light score marks. So again, let's fold it down and fold it down. And now we have very crisp fold marks, as you can see. Hopefully you can see that. And then we know that it will fit this perfectly. and the measurements line up just right, you see? So now we have the cover that we need to decorate. And as you can see, I've already pre-cut some of the pattern paper that I want to put on my holder. And let's choose, let me see, which one will go well with this. Let's just do, I have these perfume bottles here. Now, the thing, when I cut, I try to get a good measurement because we're going to need three panels on this side. 1, 2, and 3. But then on the inside, since the Post-it note thing will go here, we only need 2 panels. So we have 5 panels altogether. When I cut my panels, and everybody might be a little bit different just depending on how you want like the border, but from here to here is 2 1/8. We already know that. So I cut my paper at 2 inches. That way, and I don't even know if you can see that, but that way it leaves a little border on the top and on the bottom. But again, if you want to go 2 1/8 so it goes all the way up and all the way to the bottom, that's fine too. The measurements that go this way will be a little bit different, and it might take a time or two as you're cutting just to see exactly how you want yours. Mine, I will give you my measurements and excuse me, you can kind of cater it from there. So the measurements that I use, so like I said before, from top to bottom is always, for me, going to be 2 inches. Then for this back panel, which is the biggest one, and you'll only need one of these panels, the measurement across is 3 3/8 for this one. And sometimes I cut it a little bit bigger, just depending. But again, you cut your paper down and you see how you like the size, how it fits, and you know, everything like that. But I'll do 2 by 1 3/8, and then I just need one of those panels, which actually, let me just show you, is this one. So it's going to be like that. Then this panel here is a little bit bigger than this panel. So for this panel, again, it's 2 inches top to bottom, and then side to side, it's 1 1/8. And I do it a little bit bigger because I kind of like less of a border, so a skinnier border around is what I'm looking for. So that's this panel. And then this panel is the smallest panel. So this one is, again, 2 inches, and then I do 1 inch this way, and then this is what it gives me. So before I flip it over and show you the other side, you see how we have 2 panels left? Because on the inside, when we flip it, we only need a panel here and a panel here. So as you can see, I have my 5 panels. One of the biggest one, which is 2 1 3/8. 2 of the medium size, which is 2 by a little over 1 1/8, and then 2 panels, which is 2 by 1. And what I use, and everybody, you know, depending on what you like to use for adhesive, it can be glue, it can be double-sided tape, it can be, you know, whatever. I'm sorry, I forgot what I was saying. But I like to use my tape runner, this one here. And I used to use this religiously when I was making mini albums. Now that I don't, and I do junk journals, with junk journals I like to use glue instead. But I found that when I use glue for these, you know, sometimes glue makes paper a little bit kind of wrinkly looking. I don't want that in this, so I do just use my tape runner for this. And I mean, it's pretty straightforward. What I do is I tape all 4 sides, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then I do 1 down the middle just for some extra, you know, extraness. And then, oops, when you do it on the back, you want to make sure the shortest side is on the left and the longest side is on the right. That way when it wraps around, it makes sense. So I'm just going to turn it sideways just while I put this on. And you know, you try to line it up as I eyeball it. You know, sometimes my eyeballs work well, sometimes they don't, but you do it as best as you can. And I just take my bone folder and really make sure that the tape is stuck down there. So we have our first panel. Then let's do the panel on the right. And these are perfect little projects to use up your scraps, because when I used to do my mini albums, and you're cutting down a piece of 12 by 12 paper to the different sizes you need, you always have that one random strip left over at the end. Those strips is what I use to make all of my little panels. And I was before, and still even now, I'm that type of person that doesn't want to throw away any scrap piece of paper. So I have lots and lots and lots of scraps. And so when the craft fair comes around every year, I dig around for all my scraps and I cut the little panels with the scraps. So that is definitely a perfect way, or this is definitely a perfect way to reuse your scraps up. That way you don't have to throw them away. And okay, I'm going to bring this up to the camera right when I finish doing this. Now, okay, you see how I you can't really see it, but I move the paper a little bit more to this side rather than this side. And I'll tell you why. Because when it's folded all up, see, I want more sticking out on this side. It doesn't matter, less can stick out on this side because this is going to be covered, this side right here. If you want it centered, by all means, you can definitely center it. Me personally, I like to show more of that side. And again, personal preference. You can keep everything centered if you like the look that way. I cater it more to the way it looks when it's closed. Alrighty, and then this side, I'm going to line it up as best as I can. There we go. And just really make sure the tape is stuck down. Okay, so as you can see now, the outside is complete. There's the back, and then the last two panels that we need are the ones on the inside. So let me get those on really quickly. You know what's fun too about these? If you make a whole bunch of them, you can keep them around and you can give them out as like gifts as needed, or say like you sell things online or something, you could throw one in as kind of like a thank you gift to somebody who maybe buys something from you. Or teacher gifts are really good for if you have kids in school and you go to the open houses and you like to bring a little something or a thank you, because I know there is a Teacher's Day. I forget when it is, but I used to always send in some crafty goodies on that day, which I think is fun. And I mean, teachers, they can use Post-it notes. I don't see why not. I think everybody can use a Post-it note. I am the Post-it note queen at home, at work. It's only because if I don't write something down, I tend to forget it. Not that I'm old, I'm just, a little forgetful. Oh, goodness. All right, so now we have our base done. The last thing that I do, well actually no, the second to last thing I do is I want to put our Post-it notes in, and I like to tear them off so that the open end right here is on the right side. So when it sits in here, and you're opening it up, you're tearing it off this way. So what I do is I just run 2 lines of tape on the back, and then what you want to do is try to line it up inside as close to the edge as you can. And I hope Okay, see, I lined it up as close to this edge as I can on both sides. Then when it's where you want it, I kind of get it all together, push it down, because I want those two little tape lines that I put on the back of the Post-it note to stick. So there we go, 99.9% done. And then all I need is my Velcro. And I just take I do the Velcro circles, cut them in half, and then I only use a half per Post-it note because you don't want a big thing of, like a big circle here, but a little half moon circle is perfect. And I just close it up, and then that is that. Now, sometimes I do round this corner and this corner. However, if you don't want to, you don't have to. On these ones, I don't think I am going to. In the past, I have rounded them. So, but for this batch that I'm making right now, I'm going to leave a straight corner. So there is our little Post-it note holder. And here's some that I made last night. I mean, they're really just really cute little gifts, you know, that you can give people. There it is. I hope I explained everything well. I know a lot of people have craft fairs coming up, and definitely these are a great seller. Every year I've practically sold out of them. I mean, I come home with probably a handful. I go with 2 to 3 boxes full. So definitely a good seller at craft fairs, because people are always looking for stocking stuffers, office giveaway gifts, you know, things like that. So hopefully this was informative to you. Like I said, if you do have any questions or with your measurements or anything like that, please either you can send me an email, because my email is always in the comment section below. I mean, not the description box below, but also you can leave it in the comment section as well if you have questions about anything else. Now, the only thing that I don't do in my videos is give prices for things. And I know in the past I've really caught some flack. I've received some sometimes not so nice comments, which I delete because I don't need negativity on me, but people saying, why don't I give prices? And I always say, for the people that are nice and ask about it, I'll say, you know what, shoot me an email and I'll explain what I do. For people that are not nice about it, I just delete your comments. But if you are curious about pricing again, definitely shoot me an email. I just don't talk about pricing in my videos because it's more of the tutorial and to share what I'm creating rather than talking about pricing. But I am definitely open to answer your questions if you'd like to, just not in the comment section about that. So again, I hope you found this informative. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. And thanks for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye.